Hey guys, Thomas Asula Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie The Mummy. Now, apparently, not only is this a reboot movie, but apparently this is also a setup into this sort of dark universe. I'll put that in quotes, dark universe here. Um, and my expectations, once I had learned that, actually even lowered a bit more than just it from being a reboot. Now, I do like Tom Cruise as an actor sometimes, but here he's a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit off, but as far as this movie is concerned, by itself, we start off with this movie with Tom Cruise playing this character named Nick, who's this sort of, I guess, exploration guy, and he's there with his partner, and they come across this tomb after surviving this war zone. They come across the tomb and then they activate it and they find the actual tomb, and they explain Jenny, his Nick's partner, like sexual partner at one point or another before this adventure began. Apparently, explains how this Amunet character, the one inside the tomb, was cursed in there, and how she was put in there for her sins, even though that's not what being mummified was for, but whatever, make exception for the movie, I guess, because gotta have the evil mummy for the movie, right? Can't have, because history, at least from what I can remember of it, it was that they were mummified to be preserved, but sins, whatever. So anyway, after they get the tomb in the air, Nick's partner Phil gets shot, but before that he got cursed and then he got shot, so he is able to now follow Nick around in this sort of astral body, I guess, as Nick is also now cursed by the mummy, Amunet, who is now out and about and trying to get this little red crystal gem thing to stab herself or him with it or something along those lines, to free the curse and free herself from this torment or whatever. So at some point, Nick's character bumps into Mr. Hyde. He's a doctor, and of course, as soon as I heard his name, I was like, oh, Jekyll and Hyde, of course, because they're trying to set up that monster universe, and as soon as that started happening, it really felt like it was losing its context into being a mummy movie as low as that started happening. I mean, the beginning got into it a little bit with the whole pre-narration setting up the explanation, and then there's the whole army thing, which took up a pretty big portion of the start, and it was only midway through where we were starting to get the chase between Amunet, the mummy, and Nick's character, and it started to shift into almost this completely separate movie. It almost felt like, with the introduction of Jekyll/Hyde. So that is one of the issues with this movie, is that the transition is just so off-putting and so odd, and it doesn't feel that much like it's her movie anymore, that being Amunet's movie, or the mummy in this case. But they eventually get past that, and Amunet frees herself from this place when she's captured by Jekyll/Hyde, and then Nick is told that he's going to be killed for the greater good. And Jenny discovers, or somehow concludes, that if they break the crystal, the red crystal that she was after, they can hopefully get things rolling out of her being so overpowered and whatnot. So Nick, still somewhat under his control, eventually comes across the dagger with the little thing on it after Jenny supposedly dies, So Amunet is trying to lure him in with seduction, and then he fights it off by remembering what all the other people told him, or specifically just Jekyll slash Hyde, and then Jenny. Uh, she also has these weird powers to, I guess, make these zombie mummies be able to appear. I don't know how she acquired them. They just sort of seem to pop up. I mean, the only two that made sense were Phil and some other guy. You saw the bug go into his ear, but there were so many others that were just never really explained. They just sort of were that way, and it's so odd and so bizarre. And their powers seem very, there's like no context or rules, I guess, to the monster, which in a monster movie, I think that would actually be really important. If you're gonna do, like, for example, a werewolf movie, you have your silver bullets and stuff like that. You have your rules, so you would think that she would have some sort of set of rules, but it's never really clear. Like, what is her powers exactly? Her weaknesses are a bit more clear, which is a bit odd because I find that's usually the opposite case. But anyway, about that. So he force kisses her after breaking the gem thing to a certain extent, and then stabbing himself. And then I guess he sucks in her power with that kiss. I don't know, it's weird. Uh, and then he goes into the darkness, and then after he changed, it was all in the dark, so you couldn't really see him anymore. He flees as the army guys that were sort of chasing Amunet through as far as they could were now chasing him. And then we see Jekyll slash Hyde talk about, oh, how everything is going to be on him now, and so on and so forth. So that was The Mummy, and the movie kind of falls apart, at least for me. Uh, it's just so odd that this is a reboot, not of the original Mummy series, the Mummy series, and I could tell they tried to do their best to squeeze in some comedy here, and some of it kind of troublingly causes the pacing to hurt. It just takes way too long. Some of the jokes just go on for way too long. Like, there's this one where they're trying to, like, say, "Oh, we're gonna die, we're gonna die," and it goes on for way too long. And there's the thing with him and Jenny, the whole sexual tension between them. They try to joke around with that, but it just never really hits. And even them as a couple, it doesn't really ever seem like their chemistry is really that strong. So unfortunately, I didn't end up enjoying this movie all that much. And as far as this whole monster universe thing, or whatever they're going to end up calling it, I really hope that they're able, if they are really going to go through with this, they're able to, that their next movie will be able to be a lot better, to really solidify whatever they're trying to go for is. I feel like that's something they desperately need after this. I think it hurt that they tried to do a reboot first, again, and The Mummy, again. All these choices seem like really bad choices. Like, what a weird place to start, and what a weird reboot to consider to start this sort of thing. I would give this movie a 4 out of 10, excuse me. Uh, it just, the pacing's not great. The acting's okay. I wouldn't say it's great or anything. The comedy just falls flat for me, at least. The parts that are supposed to be revolved around the mummy are a bit too short, and yeah. So I would say, if you're someone who might be invested in the whole, I guess, if you want to see more of this whole dark universe come to light, you probably already have checked it out. If you're someone who's going to be considering going into that, because this is the first movie in this supposed series, and if it doesn't take off, then oh well. And that's my review of this movie. So, if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, everyone, bye!